Dr. Lott, you've recently faced some criticism about your research on defensive gun use. What do you have to say to that, and what are some of the advantages that you've seen in your research about defensive gun use?
Well, look, there are two main sources of the rates of defensive gun uses. Well, if you look at survey evidence alone, there's two sources. There's the National Crime Victimization Survey, and then there are other surveys that are put together by a variety of different sources. Gun control advocates like to push to the National Crime Victimization Survey, which shows about 150,000 defensive gun uses. Other surveys show an average of about 2 million. What's never explained, really, is why the two sets of surveys show such different results. And there's a very simple explanation for it. The simple explanation is they have different screening questions. So before they ask you about what happened with the defensive gun use, the National Crime Victimization Survey will say, have you been a victim of a violent crime? It's only if you say yes do they say, what happened with the crime, how did you respond, what was the final outcome. The other surveys have a different type of screening question. What they'll ask is, have you been threatened, or have you been with somebody who's been threatened with a violent crime? Those are really very different screening questions. And the reason why they're different is that, let's say I use a gun defensively. Somebody threatens me. I use a gun defensively. The criminal runs away. No crime actually committed. I'm not even 100% sure what crime would have been committed. If I'm asked, have you been a victim of a violent crime, you may answer no. But if I ask, have you been threatened with violence, you say yes. And so what happens is, I think the big reason for the difference is that when you limit it to only have you been a victim, you're losing out a lot of defensive gun uses there because they successfully used it so they weren't a victim. And, unfortunately, the people who are making those types of attacks on the rate of defensive gun use stuff don't explain to the readers, what the difference is there.
Recently, the attacks in France, some people are saying that if France had different laws, for example, if they allowed concealed carry or more easily allowed handgun ownership, that the results could have been different.
Well, I think it's clear it would go quite differently. They go quite differently in Israel or other countries too. Look, France, they announced putting 10,000 uniformed armed guards in front of different Jewish sites in the country. That may make them feel good, but I don't really think practically it's going to have a big impact. And the problem is that terrorists have strategic advantages over where and when they attack. So you put armed guards in front of a site, there's several options that the terrorists have. One, they could wait till the guards leave. They could kill the guards first before they go and kill other people. Armed guards, it's very hard to be a guard day after day, week after week, month after month in a place with just the hope, just worried that something might happen. You can't be on guard and on your toes all the time in that situation. And so if somebody's in uniform, they're a sitting duck in many of these cases. So they kill them, then they kill others. Or the third option is just move to another target. The problem is, it's not, 10,000, you put two guards at each place, there's still a lot of targets to go after. There's no way they can cover all the targets. Israel learned this lesson the hard way. After they became a country, even beforehand, they had tons of terrorist attacks. And the thing is, they tried that same approach where they put more military, more police on the street. But eventually they realized that no matter how much money they spent, if the terrorists were simply willing to be patient, they would get some opening. So let's say you have a terrorist on a bus and two police officers. Well, they could kill them first, do the same things I was just mentioning, but when they changed in 72 to start allowing civilians to carry, it completely reverses the strategic advantage that the terrorists have. Because even when the police leave the bus now, there could be somebody in front of them or behind or the side that they don't know who may be able to stop them. So in France, you have people with their cell phones taking videos of the terrorists from like 12 meters away. They're able to take videos, but they can't do anything at all to stop them from going and doing the attack. And so, France doesn't even let off-duty police carry guns. There are 200,000 police officers in France. I'm not saying even 200,000 could cover all the possible targets that are there, but maybe somebody would be in a grocery store or something when an attack would occur, and be able to stop it.
I think a lot of people are curious. Do you have a concealed carry permit?
Yeah, I did get a concealed carry permit. I basically felt obligated to have to go and get one after a while. The thing is, it's easy to kind of free ride, let other people go and do the work. I never would have thought about this before I did my research, but when you see the benefits that are there, I think one almost has an obligation to go and do something like that. I don't carry all the time. I carry sometimes, but anyway.
Thank you.